People living near a Jessamine County home that was burglarized and then set on fire say they're doing their best to look out for each other.
He worked hard every day. He was so wise beyond his years.
Family members talked to us about a young construction worker who died when a trench collapsed on him.
It's the side of texting you rarely think about, how what you send can have major legal consequences.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. It is a frightening string of crimes. Police believe arsons at 5 central Kentucky homes in the last week are connected.
All of them happening during the day when no one was home. So now deputies and homeowners in Jessamine County, where 2 fires were set, are taking extra steps to protect their homes. Victor Puente has our top story at 6.
Monday morning, a home here on Woods Road was burglarized, then set on fire. The people living near here say they've been cautious ever since.
Well, it was just scary to be so close to home, to have that happening. Makes you a little apprehensive and nervous.
The neighbors I spoke to said they didn't want to be identified. They said the fire and the ensuing investigation has them watching each other's property.
To be afraid when you go to get in your vehicle to go to town for maybe a half an hour and to come back and not know if your property's still going to be there. That's scary.
Kentucky State Police are heading up the investigation into 5 different fires they believe are connected. In 4 of them, a home was burglarized before it burned. They're trying to determine if this Scott County home was also burglarized. These neighbors tell me they don't know if that arsonist will return to their neighborhood, but they aren't taking any chances.
You have to look out for each other now, more so than ever.
The Jessamine County Sheriff's Office is also on the lookout. They've stepped up patrols in rural areas and hope the public can help.
See anything suspicious is going on, the police do not hesitate, call us immediately. Their tip could lead to someone being arrested.
State police say they believe the person responsible has probably knocked on the doors of some people who have been home. They're hoping those people can give them information to stop these fires. In Jessamine County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
The State Police Arson Task Force is offering up to a $1,000 reward in this case.
Tonight, police are trying to figure out who killed a Knox County man in his home. State police say Shane Mills was shot on Trace Branch Road last night. Family members say his mother heard gunfire, then called the home to see if Mills was okay. They say the man who answered the phone wasn't Mills, and they now wonder if that man is the killer.
And she keeps calling him. This guy picks up and he says he's a Brown, but she don't know no Brown, okay? And she said, "What are you doing out there?" And he said, "We're fixing a sink," which is false. That's not true, okay?
State police have not said if they have any suspects in this case.
A good man and a loving father. That's how family members of a young construction worker who died in a trench collapse want him to be remembered. Investigators say that 22-year-old Tyler Williams died yesterday morning while working along Todd's Road in Lexington. He lived in Menifee County, where today Kristen Kennedy talked to his family. It's a story new at 6.
He was just the most selfless person I've ever met.
Kendra Williams had known her brother-in-law Tyler practically her whole life.
He worked hard every day. He was so wise beyond his years.
The Menifee County native was working at this construction site in Lexington Wednesday when investigators say a 20-foot deep trench collapsed in on him. He leaves behind 3 children. 2, Williams says, are too young to understand what happened.
We are just going to make sure that they know that he would put anybody in front of him. He was a godly man. He was a Christian. We just want to make sure that they know everything about him because everything was good.
The Kentucky Labor Cabinet is investigating Williams' death. They told us someone was out here earlier in the day checking the site.
Right now, the family, they're just trying to take it day by day. You know, we're all just trying to stay together.
Williams is asking for prayers for her family right now.
It's going to be hard, I know, but every day we just pray that the Lord gives us strength.
She says their faith is keeping them strong. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
The family's in the process of setting a date for Williams' funeral. The Kentucky Labor Cabinet will not comment on the investigation, saying it is still open.
It has been a much cooler than normal day across the Bluegrass, but the weather looks better for Kentucky Oaks Day. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look now at your forecast.
Indeed, weather is improving over the next 24 hours and into the first half of that big weekend. It's Derby weekend. It's Mom's Big Day on Sunday, too. Current temperatures across the land into the 50s. It should be in the 70s for this time of year. Barely cracking 50 degrees into parts of the Ohio Valley, but if you're looking for a little better weather, look to your west. St. Louis, 67 degrees. That's the air mass that you see St. Louis to Springfield. That is on top of central and eastern Kentucky coming up tomorrow. Right now, Lexington, cloudy skies, 52 degrees. It's just ugly out there. A passing shower or a sprinkle is still a possibility for many of us. Steadier rains into the southeastern corner of the state. That future hour-by-hour radar, look at the timeline and notice how eastern Kentucky, the hits just keep on coming from your neighbors over to the east in West Virginia. Weather's kind of going in reverse around a big area of low pressure to our southeast. Another chilly night. Friday, though, continues to look much better. That weekend forecast, guys, I've got some thunderstorms that will crash the weekend forecast. It's just a matter of exactly when. Hour by hour is updated, and we'll look at it together when I come back in a few minutes.
Today, developer Dudley Webb gave another update on the long-awaited Centerpoint project in downtown Lexington. The project has been 8 years in the making. During an event hosted this morning by the Lexington Forum, Webb said Centerpoint continues to move forward. And he had this message for people who have questioned if funding is in place for the project.
It's a private development. We're doing the best we can to get it done. We have a game plan. We have investors. We have people that are active and ready to go. We have a contractor that's on board. We're building the building. Now, at some point in time, shut up.
Webb said he and another man are paying for the project's $38 million underground parking garage. He says it will be finished by the end of the year. Webb says plans then call for an office tower and 2 hotels to be built.
The investigation at Lexington Catholic High School over text messages from one student using the word lynch sent to an African-American student raises questions about social media and privacy, legal consequences, and the culture of younger people in the world of instant messaging. Tonight, an expert from UK on social media and some young students who depend on texting talk about how quickly the wrong words can backfire. The numbers are staggering, from the number of tweets sent every day to text messages. Instant messaging has replaced face-to-face conversations and letters. But as we are learning, the words in those text messages are not so private and can be very damaging. A hard lesson starting at an early age.
And we used to do these things, in high school cafeterias. And now cafeteria banter and mistakes are made on digital devices, and they have a longer life.
You can be group or solo, whichever one you want to do.
Kaki Urch, UK Associate Professor in the School of Journalism and Media, specializes in social media.
The text message is a written communication, and in a written communication, you can easily libel somebody. That is, say something that's not true. You can also, your words have legal merit.
She says many younger people don't understand there can be legal consequences to the words they use.
They simply do not know that this is legal written communication, and it can be subpoenaed. And not only that, people can take a screenshot of it and send it to the press, which is, what happened in the Lexington Catholic situation, which has brought all these things to light.
In February, 2 Lexington Catholic high school football players took part in a lift-a-thon. Each boy was responsible for raising at least $300. WKYT obtained the group text messages of Team 4 that had 16 boys. The 17-year-old boy accused of sending threatening text messages encourages the other players to raise the money. Quote, "We're going to raise more so we get nice blank, so coach doesn't flip the blank out." Many of the words in the numerous text messages between the players are vulgar, but 2 messages in particular that have now become public have shaken the school to its core. Later in the group text, police say the older player texted to a 14-year-old African-American player, "Do you know what lynch means?" And later in another text, "Lynch means I'm going to hang you because you're black and I just might." The younger player replies, "Oh, wonderful."
People aren't taught about that there are some very good legal reasons not to be, for better or worse, bigoted, mean.
Two of her students in social media classes told me the younger generation will send a text with harsh words, even threatening, in the heat of the moment.
We're such a generation that's, say what's on your mind real quick because, you want to say it, you want to get it out there before anybody else. And the next thing you know, you're saying something stupid and you want to put your foot in your mouth, but it's too late. And especially with social media, when you put something on there that you can't take back.
People our age, some of them don't care, and some of them do it just to do it and because they feel like it and they think it's fine, but then they are caught and they're like, oh wow, I really shouldn't have done that. I'm going to get in trouble for that.
Both the University of Kentucky and Lexington Catholic High School have social media policies. Catholics says any student who is guilty of posting negative or offensive comments regarding LCHS or any of their students will be held accountable and subject to dismissal. The student and parent are required to read and agree to that policy.
Things can be brought back to haunt you, but no, I don't think people really think about oh, this could affect my long-term success or my short-term success. Not at all. No.
After the texting between two football players became public, the president of Lexington Catholic High School released a statement that included, "We are handling a modern-day social media issue that did not happen at our school. We have no control over what students do on the internet. Teenagers have become desensitized to hateful words and the staying power of social media and texting." End of quote.
It's a collision of privacy, hate speech, digital policy, corporate or institutional policy, and youthful inexperience.
At the end of the group text message from the Lexington Catholic High School football players, the older student says, "All right, sorry about that, I really am. Never meant any of this." The younger player texts back, "Me neither." But by then, the damage had been done. The older Lexington Catholic High School student is suspended from school. The younger student left Lexington Catholic. In addition to a police and an internal school investigation, the Catholic Diocese is looking into what happened, and the NAACP is demanding a change in school leadership. Also, Lexington Catholic has brought in diversity experts to help faculty and students on this issue.
He apologized after mocking a Kentucky man with autism. Now, rapper 50 Cent has taken another step to making amends with the man's family. That's next.
And then we now know what happened to all the jellyfish that were on display inside a Lexington restaurant that recently closed.
Up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
New tonight, rapper 50 Cent has made a donation to a charity after mocking a worker at the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky airport.
Leaders of the Autism Speaks organization say he donated $100,000 to them. In a video that went viral, 50 Cent accused the worker, Andrew Farrell, of being high on drugs, but Farrell's family says he has autism and social anxiety. After the rapper apologized to the Farrell family, they asked him to donate to a charity that supports autism awareness.
New tonight, the jellyfish at a former Lexington restaurant now have a new home. Coba Casino on Richmond Road closed last month after 3 years in business. The restaurant featured a large jellyfish display. And the owners of the restaurant tell us the jellyfish have been donated to the Newport Aquarium.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Another ugly day in the books across the Bluegrass State. We've had temperatures way colder than we should be seeing. Clouds, more clouds than the peaks of sun, and some spotty showers out there too. Live look at the sky cams, west to east, clouds, Frankfort, over into the Derby City, Louisville, gearing up for a huge weekend to say the least. E-Town, mostly cloudy skies. There, Lexington, Eastern Kentucky, you know the drill. You're the area prime for some more showers this evening. Where temperatures are into the 50s across parts of north central Kentucky, we've tried to spike it just a little bit toward the balmy middle 50s with a ray of sunshine. Southeastern Kentucky, some areas here along the Virginia border could not get out of the 40s this afternoon. That's absolutely pathetic for this time of year. Low pressure, the prime reason for that, with the clouds and a little shower action. Southeastern Kentucky, notice a couple of drops here. Northern parts of the area, those will try to dive toward the south over the next few hours. So anyone is fair game to pick up on a sprinkle or a shower this evening. Oaks Day, Mother Nature's finally going to change The weather a little bit, mainly dry and milder into the afternoon. Still a little cooler than normal, but we're getting closer. A rain chance into far eastern Kentucky, hanging tough into the first part of tomorrow. Derby Day, now we're talking 75 to 80, most areas. Can't rule out a late day thunderstorm. Fingers crossed, most of that will hold off until after the Run for the Roses. It may be a very close call, but let's hedge our bets toward the middle and latter part of the evening for those storms on Saturday. Then Moms, your big day coming up Sunday with some scattered storms around. Temperatures that will be fairly mild. Tomorrow, I mentioned it's a milder day. It's not going to start that way. 40s in the morning. If you have some clouds, be patient, hang tough. Middle of the afternoon, the sun really begins to take over, and that'll carry us through the rest of the day with temperatures in the 60s. Heading out for a Friday night on the town, thermometers will be cooling down into the 50s shortly after sunset. Hour by hour, I've got some new numbers to share with you. Through the evening, any rainfall that is out there will begin to finally dissipate. Upper 40s will turn into low 40s first thing tomorrow morning. Clouds, though, eastern Kentucky are going to hang tough. Look at the midday temperature from Lexington north, mid-60s. Southeastern Kentucky, mid-50s with a leftover shower or two. Second half of the day looking much, much better. You see the 70 over at Churchill Downs, 66 Lexington. Most areas should be upper 60s. Tomorrow evening, it is cool, just not as cool as what we're seeing out there now. That Saturday forecast, very important, huh? 72 lunchtime, 5 o'clock. Upper 70s to maybe some low 80s showing up. But watch how quickly we go from some sun in a few hours to some thunderstorms working on into town. Again, we are walking a very fine line out at Churchill Downs Saturday afternoon and evening. Chances are most of that stuff holds off until later in the day. Then as we go into Mother's Day, that stalled out boundary will park itself right across Kentucky with a chance for some scattered showers and storms continuing. And that's a pattern that'll likely take us into most of next week with some strong storms that will be possible kind of coming at us in waves. Computer models over the next week spitting out 1 to 2 inches of rain into most of central and eastern Kentucky. That does not include thunderstorms, by the way. They can drop some heavier amounts on a local scale. Here's that extended forecast with thermometers up, up, and away this weekend, especially on Saturday. May hit 80 where you live. Here's hoping that is the case before those thunderstorms begin to move on into town. And guys, again, Twister, Kentucky Theater, Tuesday night. Be there, 7:30, WKYT Weather Watchers event as well. Tickets are free on WKYT.com.
Watch it be filled.
We're going to have fun.
Thanks, Chris.
Carl Towns looking back on his rookie NBA season.
He told us today it will get even better. It was pretty good to start with. And we'll check in with one of the long shots in the Derby field, Mo Tom, trained by Tom Amos. Sports is next. The NBA coming out with a list of 63 players for next week's draft combine in Chicago. 4 Wildcats are on it. Tyler Ulis, Jamal Murray, Skal Labissiere, and Marcus Lee. Lee is the only one who could return to UK. The others have either signed with an agent or say they will sign. It's been 1 year since Karl Anthony Towns was looking forward to the NBA draft. He ended up the #1 pick. Now Karl has that first season under his belt, and it was tremendous. He averaged a double-double, 18 points, 10.5 boards. His rookie year has been compared to some of the all-time greats in the game. But Karl believes it could have been even better.
You know what? I wasn't. I think that I had high expectations and high goals for myself. So even for me, everyone's, says, and I feel that I tried my best this year to play as hard as I can and as best as I can. They still didn't meet my expectations this year. I didn't as an individual performance standpoint. So there's just room for improvement, room for growth, and I'm gonna use this whole offseason to become the player that I want to be and take myself to the next level.
Major matchup this weekend at Cliff Hagan Stadium as Kentucky will tangle with 5th-ranked South Carolina. The Wildcats have put themselves in a tough spot, losing the last 3 SEC series. To get to the NCAA postseason, the math is rather simple.
Well, the possibilities are great. We're 11-10. You finish over 500 in our league, and you get to go to the postseason. We got 9 games left, and you have to win more than you lose, and if you do, you're over 500. So from that standpoint, it's good. But we got 3 weekends left, and we need to play well.
Tom Amos grew up in New Orleans, a Saints fan, and now he is training a Derby horse owned by the family that owns the team. Dick Gabriel has the story.
They don't need many excuses to party in New Orleans. Tom Amos is hoping Mo Tom will touch off a wild celebration in the Crescent City Saturday night.
If something wonderful would happen Saturday, I can't imagine anything better.
Mo Tom, as in owner Tom Benson, who also happens to own the New Orleans Saints and the Pelicans.
I'm all about the Saints, always have been, and to train for these people and to know the organization pretty well, it just makes it really special for me.
Football and basketball players can fight through blockers. Horses can't, which is one reason Mo Tom finished third in the Risen Star, fourth in the Louisiana Derby.
The race is longer, it's 1.25 miles. If the pace is legit, it'll be a spread out field, so weaving in and out of horses should be a little easier go than some of these shorter races.
Amos has saddled 5 Derby starters, so he tries to avoid daydreaming about the roses.
Oftentimes a cruel game in this business, so every time I start thinking, what if we happen to win, I always catch myself.
But if it could happen, it wasn't that long ago, remember, that the Saints won the Super Bowl.
No, I was there in Miami with my wife, and I remember Tracy Porter intercepting that Peyton Manning pass. That was the game changer. I'd love for Saturday to see him come around the turn and see that same kind of game changer for my horse.
From Churchill Downs in Louisville, Dick Gabriel, WKYT.
Thank you, Dick. Mo Tom will break from the 4-hole on Saturday. The Bensons also own another Derby starter, Tom's Ready, trained by Dallas Stewart. That's sports. Sam Amber, back to you.
Rob, thank you. A final check of your First Alert forecast is next.
And then on the CBS Evening News, what you need to know about a new federal ban on e-cigarettes for anyone under 18.
There are 2 of us sitting at this desk tonight that are very happy about your improving forecast for tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what? I'm happy about it, too.
Good.
You guys are happy for a much different reason. You're going to be out at Oaks Day at Churchill Downs tomorrow. 70, sunshine into the afternoon there, mid and upper 60s for the rest of us who are left behind tomorrow.
You've both seen some stormy Oaks days.
We've been miserable at times, haven't we, buddy?
Thanks. See you at 11.